recording already. Alright, now 2D, very good. Okay. Consideration is promised by the promisee or any other person as required the promisor in return for his promise. Okay, I told you in class for consideration, the word in return is very important. Now, this one I don't like. Okay, I have said that in one sentence, you cannot combine your section or your case. One sentence, one section only. Alright? You are going to go on and on without full stop if you keep on combining all section in one sentence. So this one, okay, should be a full stop. So then you start your sentence again with section 26. Okay. By the way, I forgot. This one also, CA, I told you, you cannot just write CA for the first time. You have to put Contracts Act in full. Then in bracket, here in after referred to as CA. That is CA. Then only you can continue after that to refer to Contracts Act as CA. Because first time, I don't know. In our syllabus, we also have to learn Companies Act. Okay. So when you just put the CA without explaining, are you referring to Companies Act? I don't know. Okay. Now, do not combine, remember, so full stop here after 2D. Right, then you start your sentence with section 26. Okay, I can accept here. Section 26 of the CA, this one can, because above here you have already put agreement made without condition is void. Okay, now, just now we said that this issue is about consideration need not be adequate but sufficient. How do we know this? Because, okay, Ellie sell the handphone for 500 ringgit, even though the value is small, and the word adequate here is used. So that is like the hint for you. Alright, now that is under rules of consideration, and there is no section, only case. Now, yesterday in class, I said there are situations where there is no section, and there's nothing I can do about it because Parliament also did not make that law, right? 63 years after independence, there are some situation where Parliament still do not make that law. So we only have the case. So after this, section 26, okay, you can write here, there are many rules applicable for consideration, but the one, there are many rules on consideration if you refer to my slides, but we only want the one relevant. Okay, so you said there are many rules, you know that, but the one relevant to this question is consideration need not be adequate but sufficient. Okay, case that can be referred to, this one is wrong case. If you look at my slide, okay, that's another thing. My slides, when I prepare, is very perfect already. Meaning, okay, if that is the rule, that means there is the case or the section. Okay, so in that situation, right, when you see the slides, okay, for example, section 2D of the Contracts Act and the rules of consideration. So when you see the rules of consideration, then immediately you can know that, oh, that is the case, okay. If my slides there, okay, it is in, like, for example, slide number 5. So the case is in slide number 5. Okay, please don't go and quote from slide number 20 or number 40. It's not relevant. Okay, because I have written my slides in sequence. That means one by one. If this is the section, this is the case. If this is the section, this is the case. Okay, now this case I said is already wrong, right? Because this is under different rules of consideration. So a case that can be referred to is, now tell me, what is the case? Relevant? Go and find in your slides. Okay, tell me the case that is relevant.
Miss, is that Mr. Thomas versus Thomas?
Yes, Thomas against Thomas. Okay. So V is against. We pronounce as against. So against that can be referred to is the case of Thomas against Thomas. Alright. So what is the facts of the case? Like I said also, do not quote the case word by word. Because in exam, you cannot copy paste that. So what you have to do is to write what is important and write in your own words. So what is the issue in Thomas against Thomas? It was about the rent payment, right? So in this case, you just write that rent payment £1. I put there £1 because I don't know how to find the symbol of pound. Okay, so rent payment of £1 is considered as a valid consideration, even though it is not, it is adequate. Okay. By the way, I think we missed something here. Yeah, it should be here. Okay. Under rules of consideration, and this one, consideration need not be adequate but sufficient. If you look at your slides, okay, there is explanation 2 to section 26. Okay, that one have to be included here. Explanation 2 to section 26 Contracts Act provides that, okay, consideration does not need to be adequate if there is consent. So what is this explanation 2 to section 26 is saying? Okay, of course, you know, like my example, I want to sell to you my diamond ring for RM5. Diamond ring is 5,000. I want to sell to you for RM5. Of course, it is very not logic. Okay, how can people how can people sell their diamond ring, 5,000 diamond ring just for RM5? Okay, but if there is free consent, that means nobody forced me to do so, then the court said it will be a valid contract, right? So of course, if the court investigate and found out that the reason why people want to sell, okay, like for example me, I want to sell it because you put a gun at my head. In that situation, of course, right? But in this situation, I said I want to sell it with my free consent. Nobody forced me. I'm just too rich. So I want to sell to you for RM5. So it's my choice. Alright? Okay, now. So this case, I will not delete because as correction for you, so you know it's wrong. Okay, now we go to application. Where is your conclusion? There's no conclusion, Andrew. There's no conclusion.
Yeah, we.
See? Hey. And then you want A for this paper. Okay, now, application. This one is the sad part. Reading many of the groups, I cried reading the application part. Okay, sometimes the law is so perfect already, but when it comes to this paragraph, oh my God. Alright, so apply the law of the question. Now again, I said, alright, law and also application, it must be like a mirror. Whatever you have stated in law, you must state again in application. Okay, so how? Then you just follow, like for this one, first you start with section 2D, right? You are talking about definition of consideration. Okay, so to apply the law to the question. Okay, question, comma, Ellie should sell her phone to Baba by offering RM500. Baba is proposal. I'm confused. Section 2D, consideration is promised by the promisee or any other person as required by the promisor in return for his promise. This is what I don't want. Why? I said do not copy back all this. Okay, do not copy back. In application, you apply. Okay, so now Ellie wants to sell the phone to Baba for 500 ringgit. Isn't that the definition, isn't that fulfill the definition of consideration already? Because Ellie is giving her phone to Baba. In consideration of the phone, what will Ellie get? 500 ringgit. And Baba is giving 500 ringgit to Ellie. In consideration, what will Baba get? The phone. Okay, so I will just cancel the whole thing. Don't know where to correct. Let me just cancel the whole thing. Okay. To apply law to the question, Ellie selling the phone to Baba for 500 ringgit is the consideration. The consideration as explained in section 2D of Contracts Act. This is how you apply. Can you see it? I do not copy again what is stated in section 2D like here. Because in law paragraph, yes, you have to put the definition. But here is only to apply. Apply is like giving advice. So you put up there is 2D. So down here also, you have to put 2D and apply. Okay, now all the law that you have stated above here in law must be applied below here.
What's going on with this next?
Pardon? Moses, are you trying to ask question or not?
Sorry, Miss.
Okay. Now, so what's next? I think Andrew, can I just delete all this? All this giving me headache. I just delete lah. Let's just make a fresh one.
Okay, Miss.
Now, what's the next one? Okay, the next one is explanation 2 to section 26. Okay, provides that consideration does not need to be adequate if there is free consent. So we are applying that now, right? So how do we apply here in this question? Okay, Ellie was not forced her phone for RM 500. So that shows she is selling with her free consent. This is in accordance with explanation 2 to section 26 Contracts Act. Contracts Act. Okay, so one by one. Now, what is the next law? Case Thomas and Thomas, right? Now, this case, Thomas and Thomas, is short, right? Some cases are quite long, right? So you have facts of the case and you also have the court held, which is very important for you to write. So when you want to apply, what do you write? You only write the court held, okay? So like this, in the case of Thomas and Thomas, you are lucky because it's a very short case. So it's only about the principle of the case. So you apply it here. Okay, so how do you apply? In the case of Thomas and Thomas, rent of £1 is a valid consideration even though it is not adequate, right? So here, this is what you should do, but you apply it to Ellie and Baba situation. Thomas against Thomas. Ellie, the act of Ellie selling the food is adequate. Is valid. It's a valid action. Okay, because consideration need not be adequate. I want to add something here. The act of Ellie selling the phone for 500 ringgit is a valid action. Okay. even though, because it's stated in the question, right? The price, the value, okay, I want to add this. Even though the value is worth much more, because consideration need not be adequate. So do you see here, I have applied one by one 2D explanation to section 26 and also Thomas and Thomas. One by one I applied, and when I applied, I did not copy back what is stated in law. I just apply. That means I'm giving advice now, right? So that's the end of it. Finish. Okay, now we go to conclusion. Conclusion is just asking about, answering your issue. The issue here is whether Baba should buy the phone for 500 ringgit. Okay, so should or should not. So after discussing, should, right? Because there is nothing wrong for Ellie selling the phone for 500 ringgit, right? So your conclusion, Baba should buy the phone for that. Done. Okay, let's submit. All right. So do you see that? Do you see that? Do you think that there is some light at the end of the tunnel? Possible? Do you have a positive vibe now? I'm going to take another question now, group 2. Anything you want to clarify? So Andrew, finally, your tutorial answer, so many red there. I write more than what you write. Why? Why are you saying that you cannot get A? You can. Hey, I'm doing extra effort today, okay, to do the consultation. My sacrifice for you. You should get A. Okay. So, I see Peggy typing. You want to ask me anything, Peggy? If you want to ask, just shoot, ask. Okay, right. So, like I said, now we go to group 2. Okay, let's go to group 2. You can still see the screen, right? Okay, so group 2. Okay. Oh, actually group 2 is the same. Sold the car is 30,000 to Japman for only 500 ringgit. Oh, I think we skip this question because it's just the same like number 1. Let me just read through. Okay, so same thing. Explanation to section 26 is not here. This one, something is wrong here. Okay. So this one, explanation, you did not explain about rules of consideration. Okay, you can just copy just now Andrew's group answer. Okay, so rules of consideration is not discussed here. Which rules consideration need not be adequate, sufficient. Okay, and then what more? Explanation 2 to section 26. Okay, not there also. Actually, it's here. Now you see, this is very odd because you mentioned in application, but you did not mention in law. Cannot like that. Okay, both of this, law and application, is like a mirror. If you mention in law, you must mention in application. Okay, compulsory. Alright. Now, this one I don't want. Okay. When Rocheville sold his car, which is worth 30,000 to Japman for only 5 ringgit, Japman did not provide adequate consideration for the car as defined by section 2D. As defined by section 2D, are you sure? Okay, why I'm asking? Because section 2D explains that consideration is promised by the promisee Actually promisee here. Or any other person as required by the promisor in return for his promise. So, where does it state in section 2D to provide adequate consideration? The word adequate consideration is not even stated in section 2D. So, you are quoting wrong. Okay. Consideration need not be adequate but sufficient is the word used under rules of consideration, not section 2D. Don't quote as you like. You really have to refer. So here, when you said Jackman did not provide adequate consideration for the car, it's wrong. Okay, and then you mention some more as defined by section 2D. Where in 2D have mentioned about adequate consideration? No. 2D only explain about the definition of consideration. Okay, right? So, and then you see here another thing. Issue is just this. And I said your conclusion must answer back your issue. But you see how long your issue is? Okay, number 2 here who? Sianza. You see how long your issue here? It does not correspond. Issue is just like this. Okay, and then suddenly, I don't know, your conclusion becoming so long. It does not correspond. So conclusion also change. If in your issue you ask, the issue is whether a contract exists between Rocheville and Jackman. So your answer should be focused only to that. In conclusion, there is a contract exists between Rocheville and Jackman, full stop. Or if you think that there is no contract, in conclusion, there is no contract exists between Rocheville and Jackman. That's all. Jackman. That's all. Okay, so why are you making all this very long conclusion? I don't understand. There's no extra marks for that, you know, because it's wrong. Do you get that? Senza, you think you can redo this? Group 2. Oh, with you Then who is in group 2 now? Anybody from group 2 here? Who is in group 2? Better I submit this first. Oh, nobody here, right? From group 2. Then I go and discuss. Okay, never mind. So group 2, they have to follow like Andrew's group just now because same question. Now let's go to group 3. Oh, group 3 is you, firm, and also sensor. Alright. Okay. Now, I know there is something wrong, you know, when I look at this answer because your law is so long, but then your application is only 3 sentences. Okay. Now, in answer scheme, okay, marks are more given to application. Okay, the third paragraph. Why? Because for the law, that means for the section and case, student can copy, no problem, you can refer. But for the application, it will be difficult because, okay, you need to apply, that means you have to use your brain and think. Okay, law can just copy. Section 2D, you can refer. Case, you can refer to my slides. But when you want to apply, that difficult because you need to use your own thinking. That's why marks are given more here at application. Okay. You see another thing, Firm and Zianza, your issue so long, conclusion so short. Okay. So like group 2 just now, issue short, conclusion long. I don't know where it come from. Now your issue very long, your conclusion very short. So I don't know why loss of words, maybe somewhere in between. Okay, let's go through this. Oh, actually your issue is also about the same. 1.5 million for just 300,000. Okay, let's go through this. Since both of you are here. Okay, now, okay. Wow, so long issue. Okay, what is the issue here? Alright. Sarah wishes to sue Mona for the breach of contract. Advise Mona. Okay, because suddenly I think Mona did not want to buy, right? Mona informed she would not proceed with the offer because consideration was inadequate. Okay, so what is the issue here? Now, to make it simple, a tips for you, right? Rather than, cracking your head, thinking, what is the issue? What's the issue? Usually in contract, it's always one party wants to sue another. Okay, so you just write that in your issue, simple. So here, who wants to sue who? You can see Sarah wants to sue Mona, right? So your issue should be that. The issue is murder. See, so long, so long. Let me just cancel this. Make it easier for you. It was Sarah, right? Okay, Sarah. The issue is whether, I cannot delete what you had written. The issue is whether Sarah can sue Mona. Dah. Okay, enough. Simple for you, right? Because in contract, it's always that. What will happen? A going to sue B. So you just fit in there. Easier for you. Alright. The law applicable in this case is section 2D. Okay, fine. Specify consideration is an act or is considered and rules on it. This is too long. Maybe you take it from the okay, of course you are allowed to refer to your slides, okay, and also to your contracts act, okay, if you have downloaded one, but I would advise that you use your own words, okay, so that this one seems too technical. I want you to understand, not memorize. Because like I said, this knowledge of law is not only for you to use here, it can be used later also in life. Alright? So I can accept this, but it's too long. Like for example, this one, the word of abstinence. Do you actually understand what's the word of abstinence? I think I put here I put a comment here. Simpler definition. Okay, you give me a simple definition. You can follow what's stated in the Andrew's group just now. The word in written. Use the word in written. That is very important. Okay. All right. Okay. So section 2D and then explanation 2. This one is correct already. Okay, but where is your rules of consideration? Okay, so before you start on explanation 2 to section 26, you have to put about rules of consideration first. Again lah, never mind. I'll just write again. There are many rules of consideration, but the one related to this question is consideration need not be adequate but sufficient. Okay. Alright. Then refer to explanation 2 to section 26. Okay. The case of Thomas and Thomas, right? Pang Sui Kim also say, okay, you must have Googled this case, never mind. Okay, it's also a case on consideration need not be adequate but sufficient. But then when you apply two cases here, Thomas and Thomas and also Pang Sui Kim, you have to make sure you apply both. Okay, but here in application, I don't see any also that you apply. Okay, so again, apply the law in this case. How to do it so? You have to start with section 2D because that is what is in the law, right? Definition of 2D first, consideration. So to apply the law in this case, who wants to sell to whom? Mona. Okay, Mona to Sarah. To apply the law in this case, Mona selling the house to Sarah for RM 300,000 is considered as a valid consideration. Sorry. Cannot. Is the consideration as defined in section 2D of Contracts Act. Okay, right? Done. That's the first one. So second, rules of consideration about consideration need not be adequate but sufficient. Section 26 under clarification 2. Where got clarification 2? We don't have clarification 2. We only have explanation 2. Okay. Alright. Consideration. That is the definition. And then rules of consideration now. However, now we go to explanation 2 to section 26. Yeah. However, the house is worth RM 1.5 million. Okay. The price of the house sold by Mona is consideration need not be adequate. So is not adequate. So now how do okay, cancel this. Right. So it's not adequate but sufficient. According to explanation 2, 26 Contracts Act, okay, if Mona is selling without cost by anyone, he is free to do so. Okay, she can sell even though it is not the value. Okay, so after that what you have case Thomas and Thomas. Alright, so now apply Thomas and Thomas. Here what you have written, you keep on repeating the same thing again. Right? Where is your application of case? Okay. Cancel this lah. Let's make a new one altogether. Right, so I'll just put here. Okay, now case Thomas and Thomas, that's the first case, right? So what, like I said, what's the principle of the case? The rent of one payment. Okay. With reference to the case of Thomas and Thomas, okay, the selling of the house by Mona for RM 300,000, even though the price is much higher, is considered as a valid consideration. So same thing like the principle in the Thomas and Thomas, you just change it to the facts of your question. So your second case that you give me here is Pang Sui Kim, right? So what is the court have? The principles of concern are insignificant, but it also suffices for the worth of the deal. Okay, principles of concerns, that mean the price. The price are not relevant. As long as there is consideration, it is enough. Suffice means enough. It is enough for the worth of the deal, right? With reference to the case, and then okay, applying Pang Kim against Bangkok, the price of the house, which is 300,000, is not significant. Significant means important, yeah. Significant and already suffice, enough, okay, for the worth of the deal. Dah done. Okay, applied already. Everything you mentioned here above, you have applied all, right? So conclusion now. So we ask, the issue is whether Sarah can sue Mona. So can Sarah sue? Yes, Sarah can sue. Okay, because she already agreed to that price, you cannot just suddenly change her mind. Okay, so let me cancel this. The conclusion is the conclusion is Sarah can sue Mona. Done. Full stop. There. You got it. Is it okay? Do you understand? Okay. So, it's near 1 already. I don't want to waste your time. Can I just take one more question? But if you have something else and you want to leave, you can leave. Right? I will just take one more question as an example. Why, Andrew? Why is your blood pressure going up? I hope not because panic of COVID, yeah? Are you panic because the number was 600 yesterday? Come on, guys. Even your seniors passed. So you can do this also. Your seniors are not better. They are just the same as you. Okay? Now, your assignment, you have to use this, yeah? Alright, your assignment. Okay. So like I said, let's go to next question. The last one I'm going to discuss because it's already near 1. I don't want to disturb your schedule. If you have something else going on, then you can leave. Okay, if not, you can choose to stay. Never mind, I'm not forcing. Like I said, this is not a class. This is just a consultation. Okay, so can we go to the next question? Anything you want to ask first? Nothing? Okay, then let's go to the last one. Example I want to show you. Okay, just now was group 3. That maybe go for group 4. Because Ziwei, you are here, right? So let's see your group. Okay, same thing here. That means, oh, all of you, I give question on this. So Proton Saga worth 50,000, sell for only 20,000. So same issue. Now, okay. Now, you tell me, what is wrong here? You guys tell me, after you had seen me correcting 3 tutorial, can you point out? Tell me what is wrong here? What's the first thing that you can identify? Yeah, apply. Okay, very good. Okay, apply there. This one, I don't understand this. Elisa changed her mind and refused to proceed with the contract. Is a consideration as defined by section 2D. That is not definition of 2D. So if you want to apply 2D, you should say that, okay, the selling, Elisa agreed to sell her Purple Proton Saga for, worth 50,000 to Ariel for only 2,000 is a valid consideration as defined by section 2D of the Contracts Act. That will fulfill definition of 2D because, okay, the word in written is used. Okay, Proton Saga is given to Ariel. Money of 20,000 is given to Elisa. So that is the definition of consideration fulfilled. You see that, right? Oh, can we go this by paragraph? All right. Issue. Do you think that that's fine? Do you think issue is okay? What do you guys think? Let's correct this together because you have seen me. Case same like Andrew. Ziwei, your blood also go up now. Okay, your issue, the issue. Is it okay, the issue? Is the issue fine? You think the issue is okay? I can see that the issue is fine. There is nothing wrong. Let's see the conclusion. Whether, okay, issue is whether RA can take action for refusing. In conclusion, congratulations. At least something is correct here. Your issue and your conclusion is correct because you are just answering. Yeah? So your conclusion is just answering your issue. Now let's look at law now. Section 2D of the Contracts Act explains a consideration can move from the promisee or any other person. Aduh. Is this really the definition of consideration? What's important here? Okay, you have to explain what is consideration. And like I said, the word in return. You want to summarize, right? Okay, the word in return is very important. So you have to write again. Okay. This one is good. You have do not, I don't want comma. Full stop. Like I said, in one sentence, only one law. Full stop. Okay. Ish. Alright. Rules on consideration which state consideration in other. Okay. Very good. You have stated that, but you have to start with this. There are many rules in consideration. Okay, but the one relevant to this question is consideration need not be adequate but sufficient. Okay. Okay, then reduce consideration with state consideration again but sufficient. Since I have already started that. Okay, I cancel this. Then it will be like connected. And in adequacy of consideration is not important as long as this is free consent. So isn't this stated in explanation 2 to section 26? So you have to write here. This is stated in explanation 2 to section 26 of the Contracts Act. So the case, case wrong here. Just now you said Peggy, right? Case wrong case. So give me the correct case. We have already been through this 3 times. You already know what is the correct case. Okay. To apply the law of the question, Elisa agreed to sell her Purple Proton Saga. I don't want this all. Everything wrong. See, 2D should be the start. Then why is 2D here? Behind, cannot. When you apply in sequence, that means one by one, you have to follow here also. Okay, one by one. Alright? So, this one cannot be. How can section 2D in law paragraph is the highest there, but here it is stated below. Cannot. Right? Case also the same. Right? And I think by now you already know how to apply. Yeah? Okay. Then I just cancel all this. This one is correct. Your issue and conclusion, fine. Fine by me. Okay, I can accept. Okay. So I put here redraft. Okay. Everything in red. Headache already. This one is only contract. There is still 3 other topics to learn, you know. Even contract we have not yet finished. After this, sales of goods, and then company law, and then employment law. Okay, anything that you want to ask? Ziwe, you have to redraft, yeah? Your question? Anything that you want to ask? Never mind, I'm going to upload this recording in Blackboard so you can watch it again. As always, okay, as always, if you don't understand, you can always WhatsApp me. Make sure it's within office hours. Try to digest. How much time do you need to digest, Peggy? Is it? Please make sure you can digest before semester end. Make sure before final you can digest. Every question, not every question, Wechi. It depends on the question. But for contract, usually you will get question on problematic like this. Okay. But if the question is very direct, for example, the question just asked, write the definition of consideration. Then you just write the definition of consideration. Okay, you do not need to apply. Okay, usually when your question have parties involved, have names here, names there, that is considered as problematic question. So problematic question, answer using ILAC. Okay, but if the question is very direct, no need lah. Right? For example, like sometimes employment law, okay, they ask very direct question. Okay, for example, please state the reason where an employee can bring a case to a tribunal. For example, like that. So no application, you just advise lah. Okay, what are the situations where employee can bring the case to tribunal? Okay, but contract and sales of goods, usually you will get problematic question like this. Okay? Alright. So let's end here. I'm going to upload group 5. Okay. Your question must be the same also, right? Oh, your issue is different. Okay. Mark obtained judgment against Jenny for the amount of 10,000 for breach of contract. Jenny wrote a letter to Mark to pay 5,000 as full and final settlement. This is the keyword there. And enclose a check amounting to 5,000 payable to Mark. Now, if you remember, the facts of this question is exactly like a case, right, that we learned. Jenny also included in the letter saying that if Mark does not intend to accept the settlement, Mark required to return the check. Mark cashed the check and used the money for his house renovation. Later, Mark asking for the remainder 5,000. Advise Jenny. Alright, so okay. Issue seems correct. The issue is whether Jenny has to pay for the remainder 5,000. Okay, good. The law applicable here. Now, rules, this is under rules of consideration, right? Okay, but that is rules on consideration, which means you have to explain what is the definition of consideration first. So, you have to start with definition of consideration. Okay, now since this is under rules of consideration, you also have to type there are many rules of consideration applicable, but the one relevant to this question is part payment will discharge the whole debt, okay, which is explained in section 64. Okay, alright. Okay, here definition of consideration. You can just take whatever we have learned just now. Okay, the case that, so section is correct already. The case that can be referred to is the case of Kerpasing against Bariasim, yes. In this case, now your facts here is not clear, not finished, I think. In this case, debtor's son offered to give a check of 4,000 as full payment in order to discharge his father from a debt of 8,600. Okay, then suddenly court held is that really the only facts of case? Because it's hanging. Okay, it's not clear to the reader. So you have to add. What happened after that? The check was cashed by lawyers of the creditor. However, they proceed to demand the balance from the debtor. Okay, so you see, I did not write exactly as what is stated in the slides. I am using my own words as how I understand. So federal court held, okay, do not put this. Okay, no need. Federal court held since the creditor accepted the offer by cashing the check, he agreed to discharge. Okay, good. To apply. So your application here is going to have problem because you see above here have section 2D, but below here you don't apply 2D. Okay, so I put here apply 2D first. Okay. Now, Mark cashed the check and used the money for his house renovation, considered as section 64. I don't understand this. Section 64 said that part payment will discharge the whole debt. That means section 64 is when Mark offered to pay 5,000 ringgit as full and final settlement for the 10,000 ringgit. That is section 64. This is not section 64. Okay. I want to write here. Jenny. Hey. Jenny to Mark. Okay. That is the definition in section 64. Section 64 is talking about part payment will discharge the whole debt. Don't simply put, when you apply, you really have to give the definition given in the question. Okay. So with reference to the case of Kerpase and Bari, I'm saying Mark will fail to collect because and use the money for his inclusion. Yeah, okay. This one can be accepted. That's how you apply the case. At least something to praise you off. Okay, your application of case is good. Alright. Nah, there. Okay. Done. Alright. I think maybe you need time to digest. Okay, let's go for our lunch first. Alright. It will give you some time to digest. I will upload this video in the Blackboard. Maybe you want to review it again. So if you have questions, then please do WhatsApp me. Okay, just make sure it's within office hours. Right? Okay. Thank you so much for being here. See you guys.